Hey, good morning and welcome to Breakthrough Walls. I'm Ken Walls and I'm your host. And today I have the law on the show. I'm kidding. I have the amazing Kelly Bagla. She is an attorney and I am so excited to have her on the show. So do me a favor, if you would, share this out with everybody that you know. And let's get a bunch of people on here to hear Kelly's story, and she has a lovely British accent. I'm sorry, English accent, and you're going to love her. So stay with us. We'll be right back. Share this out. We'll see you soon. And we are back. Let me bring Kelly on to the show. Kelly, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Ken, for having me on. It's a delight.
I am grateful to have you here. I know absolutely nothing about you except for you're a New York Times bestselling author, which I'm a publisher. So, for those of you that don't know, that means she sold at least 25,000 books in 1 week. That's incredible.
Thank you.
And I'm happy to have you here. So let me start with this. So I started this to help people have a breakthrough in life. And I did it selfishly. I was stuck at the time in my own life. And I'm like, I think if I listen to enough other people talk about how they got unstuck, it'll help me. And it did. So, and I'm excited for you to be able to help other people today. So tell everybody where it all began for you. Where were you born and raised, if they can't tell already?
Right, exactly. And thank you, by the way, for correcting the accent. It's not British; it is English. Yes, I was born and raised in England, and I have spent most of my life actually in the States. Believe it or not, I've been here probably about 25, 27 years now, but I don't think I'll ever lose the accent. And I've been told never to lose the accent.
Do not lose that accent. That's right. Don't do
you,
it.
you got it. You got it
I
again.
love that accent.
And
And it's English. Why is it not British?
because
Why is What's the
because
difference?
there isn't a country that is called Britain, right? Britain itself is made up of the other countries. We've got Scotland, we've got Wales. And
Ah,
then when you bring in the UK, United Kingdom, that brings in all of the other countries, including Ireland. And so England is a separate country by itself. Over time, Ken, people have been just mingling everything together and they just call it British.
wow, I did
Yeah.
not know that. Wow, some educational value already for me. So, well, welcome to you and your beautiful English accent. So, Kelly, you were born and raised though in England, correct? And
Correct.
when did you move to the US?
So I've had an interesting journey, Ken. Born and raised in England, right after high school, we start the nursery, which you called kindergarten here, at the age
Mhm.
of 3. So we are 2 years ahead of the American educational system. So
Mm.
when I finished my high school in England, I came out to the Bay Area. That's where my sister and brother were living at the time. I thought, oh, I'm on my summer holidays. Let me go out and say hello to them. I'd never been out here before. I absolutely loved the place, and after further discussions, decided to apply for student visas and what have you. And I completed my schooling both in England and also here in the US. I've got a master's degree in law, which allowed me to sit for the bar. And it's been interesting to say the least. I was what, 16, 15, 16 when I first arrived here. I'm the baby of 7, Ken. So mom and
Oh,
dad
wow.
obviously enjoyed each other.
Yeah, no television in the house.
Right.
Right,
Right.
right.
And And so I'm the only one that has gone into law. All of my other siblings, they are all in the medical profession in some form and respect. My dad, he's an entrepreneur, and I followed in my dad's footsteps. But
Mm.
I am the only attorney. And again, being the baby of seven, mom wanted me home for a while because I was out in the States. And so I took advantage of that time and I went to law school in England. So my schooling is both from the UK and the US as well.
So you did not go to law school here at all?
I did a master's here
Okay.
in law.
Wow.
Yes, yes,
So you bounced around a little bit. So when you and I know a lot of attorneys. I don't know if you saw the intro video, but I prior to his passing away, I was friends with Judge Ken Starr,
yes,
who is famous for impeaching Bill Clinton. he was
yes,
he
yes.
was he was such an incredible guy. I actually did a private book signing for him in Columbus, Ohio, when I lived in Ohio, and met him and his wife, and they were wonderful, wonderful people. But I know a lot of attorneys, right?
Mhm.
Talk a little bit about why you decided to pursue. If everybody else in your family is doing medical stuff, and you're like, nope, I'm going to be an attorney. Why? What was the push?
I must have been about 5 years old, and I was watching a show on TV, on the telly, Ken, on the telly, on the telly, and well, I know it might seem like England's a third world country now, but it wasn't at the time back then.
I'm talking about your parents having 7 children. like
They stopped at me and they said, "Listen, it's time to get a telly now." So yes, I grew up watching telly.
I love that. That's awesome.
There was a particular show on that used to play every week, and it was called the King's Council. I'm sorry, the Queen's Council at the time. Now we have the King, but it was called the Queen's Council. And every single time the barrister would go in and win the case and win the day, and I always found that so fascinating. And so I absolutely, truly stuck to my guns, and I said to my dad, "Dad, I want to be a lawyer. I want to be that." I had no idea what that was, and so over time, Ken, my conviction in what I wanted to be has never ever changed. It's always been a lawyer, a lawyer, a lawyer. And
Wow.
here I am several years later.
Kelly, I so one of my friends is an attorney. She's a client of mine, lives here in Dallas, and we took our daughter over to their house for this Christmas dinner thing a couple years ago, and their house is humongous. I mean, huge, huge, huge. Elevator inside. It's really beautiful. And so we left, and she's sitting in the back seat. She was 12, and she goes, "Dad, I know what I want to do with my life." And I said, "What?" She goes, "I want to be a rich attorney." I said, "Okay."
Very specific. I love it. Not just an
Very.
attorney.
Not just an attorney, because there's plenty of poor attorneys.
Oh, there's
Wants to be
plenty.
a
Yes.
rich attorney. So,
Love
I
it.
love that. So it started and my daughter has not let go. She's 14 and a half now, and she's not let go. She still wants to go to law school and be a lawyer. It's incredible.
Beautiful.
I
Yeah,
know.
she'll stick to her convictions, Ken, and she's going to become that rich lawyer.
I know, right? So when you so you were in England when you graduated from law school. Where did things go for you from there? Is there a bar exam there too, I guess? I would imagine.
So you can take there's two routes that you can take in England. You can either become a barrister, which is a trial lawyer here in the US,
Okay.
or you can become a solicitor, which is a transactional lawyer here in the US. I
Okay.
chose to go transactional, corporate law. And again, why? Because that's where the money is, Ken. Your daughter's super smart.
Yeah. That's where the money is. Right. So did you practice law then in England?
I sat for my solicitor's course,
Okay.
and because before one can practice there, you have to do a call it a pupillage, call it a internship with a law firm over there in the UK, but
Yeah.
for 3 years, Ken, 3
Whoa.
years. So and during those 3 years, they can move you around to any department. So I want to be a corporate lawyer. Guess what? Guess who's getting that phone call 2 a.m. in the morning that you have to go bail someone out? It's going to be the me.
Oh,
So and 3 years, I chose not to stay there. I chose to come back to the US, and I chose to pursue my master's here, which allowed me to sit for the bar. And here in California, of all places, and I've been practicing, Ken, it's my 20th year.
oh
20,
my
yay!
gosh.
20 years I've been
Congratulations.
practicing law. I've been providing excellent service to my clients, and I love each and every one of them, Ken.
That is so amazing. 20
20
years in
years.
California.
California of all states, yes.
Ugh, what in the world? I mean, okay, I think you're in the San Diego area, right?
Yes,
So
I am.
I understand that. It's beautiful there. It's
It's the only place
beautiful.
to be. Yes.
Yes. So, what made you go, I'm gonna move to California from England and practice law?
Right, right. And my sister and brother were here in California. If they were in New York, I'd probably go to New York.
Oh,
But they were in California, and this is where we've sort of settled as well.
yeah. I've been to San Diego. I've been to Carlsbad, which is, oh
Yes.
my gosh.
That's exactly where my office is, Ken. So,
In
yes.
in Carlsbad.
In Carlsbad, yes.
I was invited to be a speaker. Dr. Fab Mancini invited me to come to his event at the Aviera Resort. Are you familiar with
Yes,
that?
absolutely.
That is the most gorgeous place. I came home, I told my wife, I'm like, number one, I had the very best steak I've ever had in my life at that resort. Number
Right.
two, you've got to see it. So we're coming back there someday to visit. So it's beautiful
Beautiful. I
there.
would love to host you. You make sure you connect
Oh,
with me.
that's so nice. Thank
Yeah.
you. Okay, so you started, did you in California, did you put out your own shingle? Did you start your own practice, or did you work for somebody for a while?
So when I first started applying, I passed the bar, I started applying for my very first attorney position. And it was with Baker and McKenzie in San Diego. It was the
Okay.
largest international law firm in the world, Ken, in the world, not just the US.
Wow.
Currently, right now, it's probably about three or fourth in the world. But at the time when I started, it was the number one international law firm. I
Wow.
learned from some brilliant minds, not just domestically here, Ken, but internationally from across the globe, because we
Yeah.
were based in 69 countries, 69 countries. And
Wow.
so right out of the gate, I must have blown the socks off the partners. They loved me instantly. They offered me the job right there and then. There was no, we'll let you know, Miss Bagla. No, no, they offered me the job. And
Yeah.
so that really opened up massive doors for me. Everybody
Wow.
knows who Baker McKenzie is and what they do, and their reputation is pretty impeccable. And I did start off with the largest firm. I learned very quickly the politics of large firms as well,
Yeah.
and you learn a lot. I mean, I was a young lawyer, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, Ken. I was out there, I was gonna crush it, I was gonna make a name for myself, and here I
Yeah.
am. And as soon as I start work, they give me a laptop and a BlackBerry. Do you remember those BlackBerries?
Yes. I we have one around here somewhere. I just saw it recently. It's
Right.
dead, but yeah.
Or you can see it in the museum, right? It's
Yeah,
such
right.
a shame what happened to BlackBerry, but I
I
I
know.
divert. I divert.
Somebody said that the other day to me. They're like, "I miss my BlackBerry keyboard." I think it was an attorney, actually, client of mine, that said that.
Right, right. So they give you an electronic leash, right? So
Yeah.
literally, wherever you are, they can get a hold of you. I was working 16, 17, 18 hours a day, Ken. I loved it. I loved it because I was young. I wanted to
Yeah.
absorb everything that I could. And I worked in their corporate and securities department. That was my official title, corporate and securities attorney.
Wow.
From there, after learning that all behind the scenes, the politics and what have you. At one point, we actually got a partner from hell, Ken, from
Mm.
hell. And when she joined, within the first month, there were 10 of us that left, 10
Wow.
attorneys that left. So during that time, I was one of them because they brought her into the corporate. department. And from there, I went to a smaller firm. It was an IP firm. They needed to build out their corporate department. I went in and did that. Within 6 months, I was promoted to senior corporate attorney. And then probably another year or two, I said, listen, I started going out and doing business development and bringing business back. And I said, at some point, I would like to talk about a partner route at the firm.
Yeah.
And the partner said, "Oh yeah, that would be great, but however, we have to pay the debt off first before you can gain profits." And I said, "That's not a relationship I want to enter into. Starting off with debt, and that's
Yeah.
your debt." So at the time, it was 2009. Ken, 2009 was when I decided if I can make money for someone else, why can't I make money for myself? So
Right?
with all the tools that I learned, uh,
Yep.
I went out and I started Bagla Law Firm, APC. It
Good
was
for
the
you.
it was the most brilliant day of my life. This journey has been absolutely incredible. Ken,
Yeah.
if I had to do it all over again, I would do it exactly the same way. Exactly. Because my experience at the big firm and then the medium firm and then me actually opening my firm, it taught me and led me to where I am today.
Yeah.
I zealously represent my clients. I
Wow.
take a personal interest in my clients. And
Yeah.
Ken, I am also known as the queen of business law. That
I've heard
title,
that. I've
that
heard that.
title was given to me by my clients. Why,
Wow.
you would ask, right? Well, the queen is the most powerful piece on the chessboard.
Yep.
However, because she can move in any direction, her only job is to protect the king. And for us, our client is the king. If I'm
Wow.
the most, if I'm the most um, important, the client obviously needs to be protected. So I was given that name. Plus, I'm English, and we had the queen at the time ruling. So
Right.
there you go.
Right. So, talk a little bit about I'm just curious. I always wonder, like, obviously you've reached incredible levels of success with your firm, and your book and everything that you've done. But did you ever I have another client that's an attorney, and she's really, really successful. She's retired, kind of. And she talks about a day when her and her partner couldn't make payroll. And they were like, she literally gets emotional talking about this one particular moment because of a client not paying and all kinds of stuff. But she gets very emotional, and it causes me to be emotional listening to it, right? And I'm like, but because I've been there, like, can't make payroll, and it's like, oh my god, I'm a loser. But like, but she talks about, and then there was this magical thing that happened. The money came in, and but have you had in building? Go back to the beginning, the first day you open, and the first year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever. Did you have any of those moments where you're like, we're done, we're not going to make it?
Yes, and yes, Ken. And
Nobody
yes,
likes to talk about those, but I think that it's important.
you have to talk about it. You have to. The people that don't want to talk about the heartaches and the success, the failures, and what it really takes to get through these hard times, you have to be out there to talk to people. You have to, so other people can get through theirs much easier. I'm a huge believer, Ken, in we are all here put on this earth to serve each other. And if you have gone through an experience yourself where you feel that this could help someone, please don't be quiet. Actually, speak out. These were some of the hardest times of my life, and they usually are for entrepreneurs. Is one is, well, where do you get it? How do you get business, right? How do you get business? If I didn't join the mid firm after the big firm, if I hadn't joined the middle sized firm, I would never have known how to sell. What am I supposed to say? Go out to someone because we're attorneys. We're not allowed to solicit, right? So I can't just walk up to someone and say, "Hey, do you need an attorney? Are you starting a business? Here's my card." You can't do that. So how
Mm,
is it that you get business? The very first thing I did, Ken, was I joined the Chamber of Commerce, Carlsbad Chamber of Commerce, and
mm,
I got very involved because being a member, just showing up to events and not really participating, you're not going to get anything out of it. So you really have to get your feet wet. You jump in, you volunteer, you actually have people meet with people, and
yeah,
they get to they start getting to know who you are, and you're there every month. So the chamber, that would be a one big massive advantage that I would say is for any new business that wants to start, join your local chamber, get known first, and get involved with the community. So that was the first thing I did. The second thing I did was, as an attorney, I'm allowed to tell my clients where I'm going, and there was a handful of clients that actually walked with me. And Ken, to this day, those clients are still with me,
that's so
still
awesome.
with me, still with me.
That's
And
awesome.
and so for the first year, it was basically, one, how do you know to set your pricing? So you're always going to undercut yourself because you don't know. You have no idea what to
Yep.
charge for something because we never billed anyone at the big firms. That was a billing department.
Yeah.
So you got to figure out how much to charge. Then you got to obviously find someone. Then you have to come back and do the work. So you're the one that's doing everything, right? You're
Yeah.
wearing each and every hat. You have to be the collection agency as well. And very quickly, early on, and one beautiful thing that attorneys are actually allowed to do legally is to be retained first. So we don't have to lift a finger without being paid first. So very quickly learned, put people on a retainer, the money's there. Okay, now I can provide services. But Ken, I had bills to pay. I had
Yeah.
when I joined the big firm, I bought a house in San Diego. You know they're very expensive.
Yeah.
I bought
Right.
a house thinking I'm going to stay with the firm. I'm going to be a rich lawyer. I'm going to be a partner at this largest firm. It didn't happen. So now I'm thinking, how am I going to make my payments, my bills, how am I going to keep a roof over my head? One of the biggest securities for any woman to ever have in her life is security, is a roof over her head. That's the
Yep.
biggest security any woman needs. And that security was being shaken, Ken. It was being shaken for me. I I'm a huge believer in you in yourself, right? You have to believe in yourself. You cannot rely on other people believing in you.
Right.
You have to believe in yourself. I I fell back on that. I fell back on the principles that my dad taught me. Every month, somehow, Ken, somehow, I swear to God, every month, I would find a client that would give me $5,000. Now I could pay my mortgage and my bills. And I
Yep.
did this. And it every time I would get a client that passed, or it was too expensive, or sorry, we're not going to do this right now, it hurt. It hurt so bad because I was relying on that client. How am I going to pay my bills?
Yep.
I even went as far as maybe I could be a contracted attorney for other law firms, right? So just trying to find my bet. It's super difficult, extremely difficult if you don't have any guidance. And Ken,
Yeah.
you're looking at a self-made woman. I've never had any guidance except from
Right.
my father, right? And
Yeah.
whatever I have achieved, however far I've come in life, I'm the type of person that loves to pay it back. I did it the hard way. Let me show you how not to do it the hard way. That's
Right.
my philosophy in life. And that's what I do for my clients as well. But I remember those days, Ken. Of
Yeah.
course, I remember those days. At one point, there were two mortgages on my home, two of them. And one of them was going to call. And I was just, what do I do? Who do I borrow money from? What can I do? Can I go to the bank? Can I get a loan?
Yeah.
Somehow, every month, I would end up finding a client that would give me $5,000. And I say somehow, Ken, I I believe in the Almighty. The
Yes.
Almighty that and people can have their own beliefs and they can call it the universe and they can call it whatever they want. This is how I was raised. I believe in the Almighty. In fact, Ken, you're going to love this. I call God my bestie.
Yeah, no, I love that.
So
I
I was very, very in touch with my bestie through this whole time. It
yeah,
got me through. And when I say somehow, it wasn't somehow, it was bestie helping me through, Ken. That's how I
amen.
got through. I'll never forget those days because this is where we come from as entrepreneurs. This is where Jeff Bezos came from. He started in his garage, for God's sake. Entrepreneurs, the ones that are very committed and those are the ones that become successful.
It's in Elon Musk. Look at his story. My God, he took every last pen. Like, there's so many examples, and I was telling somebody recently that we've all heard the story about Colonel Sanders, how he was 65 years old, got his first whatever it was, pension check or whatever he was like, how am I going to live on this? And that's when he went out and started his thing at 65 years old.
Yes.
And I just think about, like, because I've been there. I've been in business for a long time. I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. I'm a horrible employee for another company. I mean, I am. I always say I'm not employable. But what are some of the big mistakes you see? Because I started my company on a $20 loan and went out and knocked on doors doing website development and helping people. And it was horrible. I had $20 to my name. And what are some of the things that you see entrepreneurs and business owners? What are the mistakes that they're making that's holding them back from huge expanse? Because I think we all want that bigger expansive growth, right?
Absolutely. As an entrepreneur, just like yourself, Ken, I'm an entrepreneur 3 times now. I'm a
Yeah,
CEO of 3 companies that I've started, right? But
yeah,
my law firm, Bagla Law Firm, is my baby. It's my passion. It will always be my first love, always. So I have seen mistake after mistake that entrepreneurs make. The biggest mistake is when they get money, they just spend it as if there's no tomorrow. They spend it on silly stuff like, oh, let's spend, $15,000 on a website. It's not needed. Let's spend 5,000 on marketing material. It's not needed. Let's spend, $500 on business cards. It's not needed. So that's the number one issue or problem or mistake that I see entrepreneurs make. The second problem is their mindset. They are usually, that's a big problem. Usually they're
yeah.
very set in their ways and they're very, well, I know this and I know that. And nobody knows everything, right? That's
Right.
why you come to the professional. So I'm the professional and I'll tell you how it is.
Yep.
The Especially when they want to grow, there's a lot of fear there. What if I can't make it? What if I can't? Well, you start again. You start again, right?
Right.
These are failures that you learn from every single time. Failures can be a beautiful thing, and more failures at the beginning is perfect because could you imagine a big massive financial failure while you're in business for 5 6 years, and all of a sudden that could potentially bankrupt the company. So all
Yeah.
of these mistakes that entrepreneurs make, I highly encourage them to make them earlier on, but
Yeah.
they absolutely shouldn't move forward without getting consultation. In any business needs two partners on their side always. One is a fantastic CPA, knows exactly what they're doing, and
Yeah.
also a brilliant attorney, a corporate attorney, because it's a corporation, it's a business. And it's mismanaging of money, it's not having the right mindset, and then it's bringing in 50, 60 people where they're saying I've given stock out to my uncle Joe and my aunt Betty and my friends from high school, and then they want to actually go into funding from a outsource a VC. It doesn't
Yeah.
happen like that. So stop thinking that you know everything. Slow down, get proper guidance because
Yep.
nobody wants to build a solid business on shaky ground. You wouldn't build a house on a foundation that's not solid. Same thing
Amen.
applies with business as well.
Amen. That's amazing. What is your, like? Like when you wake up in the morning, what is your, and I love that coffee cup, by the way. That is beautiful.
I am I am
Marines.
I am married to a Marine.
Oh,
Hoorah! I had
who
to, Ken. I
I
had to.
love I
I
love that.
love my Marine, so I'm very biased.
I love that. I love that. And of course, in San Diego, how could you meet a Marine in San
Exactly.
Diego? Yeah.
Exactly.
So, but when you wake up in the morning and I'm going to the office or I'm going to work, or what is it that drives you, that makes you continue to, and I know, love of clients, and I get that part, but is there something deeper in you that you feel like really drives you?
Yes, absolutely. My morning routine, my husband is in construction. So he wakes up at 3 o'clock a.m. I wake up at 3:30 a.m. We have breakfast together. We have three dogs. So we feed the dogs at the same time. They're on our schedule. Then
Wow.
we both go to the gym and we work out. And from there, he goes to work and I come home. At that time, I load up the girls. I've got three girls, load them up, take them to a park so they get their exercise. And Ken, I'm in the office no later than sometimes, 6:37. I get a good start. And why? Because one, I want to be in the power seat when the day starts. I want
Yeah.
to control how the day goes. That's why we wake up super early. And
Mm,
two, I do have clients worldwide, so they can call at any time. They're very respectful of timing, but I want to be
yeah.
available to them. Now, why do I do this? What's the drive um, that's causing me to wake up and continue serving clients? The bigger goal, Ken, is I want to be able to open a nonprofit for dogs. It's going to be called Four Paws Resort. It's going to be a forever home for dogs, dogs that are abandoned, dogs that are sick, dogs that people don't want. These dogs, I can consider them as little angels from God. And so that's where my heart belongs. That's my big why, Ken. It's because of these
Wow.
innocent angels that need a home, and that would be the legacy, including the books and what have you I've written. But that would be the legacy that I'd like to leave behind.
You and my wife would be best friends. I'm not kidding. If we could rescue every dog on the planet,
Yes,
they would be in
yes,
my house.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
I she actually every single day of her life in the morning, she goes to a horse, and she volunteers for a horse and donkey rescue.
Oh,
And here in Dallas or North Texas, and she literally goes every morning and feeds these horses and this one subset of that she takes care of at this farm right outside of town, and every night she does it, and it's like dogs are where her heart is, like big time.
horses are just big giant dogs. They
They
can be
are.
naughty too.
Yes, yes, they
Yes,
can. I've been there. And they're very intuitive too.
yes, yes,
They know exactly who to trust and who not to trust. It's
exactly.
amazing.
At,
So
at
so
Buckingham
so that's a
Palace,
really,
Ken,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was
What?
going to say at Buckingham Palace, you have guards there on horses, and tourists always want to go up there and take a photo with them. There's
Yeah.
one particular horse is extremely notorious for kind of pushing the tourists away or biting
Yeah.
them or pulling them, and he'll nibble like this,
Yeah.
and you can see he's done it to so many, except
Yeah.
for this one. She was a special needs kid.
I saw a video, I think,
The
about that.
special the horse just sort of very gentle, very sort of getting close to the kid, just very protective. It was amazing to see, Ken. So animals have this protective side to them. It's just beautiful to see.
It is. It is absolutely. I think I saw a video or something, maybe on Instagram or somewhere. I don't know, but I know what you're talking about. It's
Yes, yes,
amazing. So your ultimate goal is to have a dog rescue in San Diego, I'm assuming.
yes.
And what about taking it? nationwide.
That's exactly what we'll be doing.
Wow.
Headquarters will be here in San
Wow.
Diego, because
Wow.
there's no reason to move. And then
Right.
yes, absolutely can, and hopefully internationally as well.
Wow, that's amazing. So, what's next for you?
What's next for me is life has been pretty fantastic. Let me put it that way. I'm a very positive person. I choose to see the good
Yeah,
in life,
yeah,
and I have grown, if you will, over the years. Ken, my other two businesses. One is called golegalyourself.com. Uh, the name, my husband came up with that name, and it's a online company. Is basically a business in a box with all the templates that you need to start your business and all the contracts that you're going to need also. So it's called golegalyourself.com. And I created that business for clients or potential entrepreneurs that, one, don't want to go see a lawyer. They are above going to online companies, and they just want a solid corporation with solid contracts. So I created that. And then I also created Pit Bulls and Pearls, Pit Bulls and Pearls Coaching Company. This is for people who love life and mean business.
yeah.
There's so many lessons that I have learned from my dogs, Ken. Unbelievable. And these are simple lessons that you can apply in business, and you can apply
Wow,
personally to yourself too. And that's how I'm out there trying to change and help people. Um,
wow.
what's next for me? We will see. We will see what's next. There could be chatter of running for political office. There could be chatter of, you know, maybe starting another company. I'm not quite sure. But what I can tell you, Ken, is that I'm not going to be sitting still.
I love that though. My buddy, Grant Cardone
Oh,
has,
by the way, I
um,
love Grant. I've
I
heard all of his books. I think he's
he's,
brilliant. I love his
uh,
mindset. And that's
yes.
the type of mindset that I have. Yes.
He's one of my biggest, if not my biggest mentor. I sat in his office in 2014, I think it was, and for 3 hours with him, and it, like, rocked my entire life, and I thought I knew everything already, but no, I didn't know anything. But he's talking about running for governor of California. I think it would be
It
awesome.
would be great. It would be
I know, I
great.
know.
Tell him to come
We're
talk to me. I can connect him with political people.
Yeah, we're doing an X space with him, I think on December, I think it's 13th, the evening of December 13th, to talk about the governor run. So, there's my buddy Joe Ingram. He's up there in Orange County by you. So, or I don't know if that's by, I don't know California well enough to
It
know
is.
where
It is.
everything
It's
is.
probably about, 40, 50 minutes north. Yes.
Yeah, he loves your backdrop. I love your backdrop too.
Thank you.
So talk about, I know you don't necessarily know what's next, or maybe you do and you're just not spilling the tea, as they would say in England. Um but I mean, what would motivate you to run for political office
Be-
besides California?
because there, yes, exactly. You nailed
Yeah.
it.
I mean, you're like, Ken, enough with the rhetorical
Oh,
questions, but
right, right.
yeah.
I think the one thing, Ken, that I really, really want to highlight from a governmental standpoint is entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Why isn't entrepreneurship being taught in high school? That's what
Thank
I
you.
that's what I want to know. Why?
Yeah.
Why is everyone, you're very, very familiar with Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah, I know Sharon
So
Lechter very well.
So why, Ken, why are our kids that are going to be the future of this country, why are they being taught to think like poor dads? Why?
Yep.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
America is such an incredible country. I'm seeing it through my immigrant eyes. I wasn't born here, Ken, but this is my home. I've made it my home.
Yep.
I'm living my American dream, by the way.
Yeah.
right? My
Yeah.
American dream, I'm living it. It's alive and well. And there's opportunity everywhere. You just have to know where to look. You just have to have the pearls to say, listen, I'm going to go for this opportunity, whether it's something or not. If you don't, you're going to get absolutely nothing. But entrepreneurship has really, really allowed me to become independent, to become financially independent, Ken, not to rely on a boss that could fire me tomorrow. There's like you said, you're not employable. I am employable, but I would take over. That's the type of mindset that I would have.
That's why I'm not
That's
employable.
why.
'Cause they don't want you doing that. I learned
Exactly.
that. Yeah, they don't want you taking over. They don't
Exactly,
like that.
exactly.
Yeah.
But really, it's really, it just all comes down to entrepreneurship. This country was based and it's been built on the backs of entrepreneurs. And there really needs to be less regulation on entrepreneurs. There needs to be more access to capital for ones that want to start. Why aren't there these federal programs for kids that are going to graduate from school? Why can't you give them $5,000, which they apply towards a business? Right.
Yep.
So, I mean, America, the government's pissing away millions and millions, and now it's trillions of dollars. And every American should be outraged because you know what? They're using your money and they're using my money, and they're
Yep.
doing our youth a massive disservice. So if I can help and if I can shed light on something that could be beneficial for America, not just
Yeah.
Californians, that would be my calling.
I think that let's just go there. I'm going there. Like
Let's
you can
go.
follow, join, or tell me to shut up. But I think that we have. You're right. We have a problem. We're sending. Oh, this could get us shut down on Facebook, but I don't care. I mean, we're sending billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars. Now, $1 million is not a lot of money anymore. 5 million is not even really a lot of money. But like if you hand the average person $1 million, they're gonna feel like, wow, right? That's a lot of
Absolutely.
money.
Mhm.
But $1 billion, most people can't even wrap their brain around that, what that is. And we're sending hundreds of billions of dollars to fund foreign wars and all kinds of other crazy stuff. And
What about that museum in Angola? You know how many billions of dollars Biden just gave them? For what? Because they want to build a museum for slaves?
it's insane.
Ken, this is insane to me. Let's go there. Let's go there, Ken. The
Let's go.
the the Africans, the kings and queens of Africa,
Yep.
they're the ones that sold their own people to become slaves. So
Yep.
now Biden's giving them billions of dollars to create what? A museum for slaves that they created?
And Kelly, we have I asked Grok because I don't use woke AI. I use Elon's AI, which is not woke. And I asked Grok like, what's the current number of homeless U.S. veterans? And it was somewhere. I think the answer it was 30 or 40,000. It meant, and it's probably even more than that.
Mhm.
But I think about and people are like, well, they choose to be homeless. Okay, I've been there as an adult. I had some issues back before I got sober, long time ago. But I think that we need to address our problems here. I mean, we're trying to play the goodwill, and I honestly think it's all just a big money laundering, but we won't. I don't want to go too far. Don't need anybody knocking on the door, but I think that we have these massive amounts of money that are going out to all these. Like I didn't even know about this museum. What the hell is
Yeah,
going on?
yeah,
It's
exactly.
crazy.
So, needless to say, because we're here now, Ken, we're here. I
Yeah.
am super, super excited about our new president. I
Oh,
absolutely love Trump. I love,
yes.
love, love. I've always loved him, even prior to him running for president,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
he's the epitome of an entrepreneur.
Yes, he is.
Yes,
And
and
mm,
we
and the
we
pe-
have a task force coming in too, right? That's going
I
to.
know.
But guess what Biden's doing? He's trying to empty the coffers. How
I know.
insane!
But and it is people just, and again, the people who support that, like it's cognitive dissonance. They can't think anything outside of what they completely believe in. And thank God I've not experienced that in my life. I've always been pretty open to whatever. Like, let me just see what's going on here. But the bottom line is we have serious freaking problems in this country, and we're sitting back and watching people just completely decimate the everything. It's crazy. I want to hear about. I didn't know we would go here, but we're here. Let's talk about it. I want to hear your opinion on, because I love Vivek Ramaswamy and I love Elon. I love Elon and Vivek. I love what Trump is doing with them and the Doge, Department of Government Efficiency. What are your thoughts on that?
I love it. I want to be part of it. I absolutely love it. There needs to be oversight, Ken. It needs to
Yeah.
start from the top. Like you said, they're pissing away billions and billions. Now we're in debt in trillions of money. Trillions. No one's ever seen what $1 trillion looks like, right? But
No.
we're in debt. I am excited. This should have happened ages ago. The government, they're creating these departments, and we're funding them, and we don't even know what these departments do. By the way, Ken, did you hear that 6%, only 6% of the federal workers actually go into work since the pandemic? Only 6%. So we're paying for the 94% of federal workers to stay home.
Unbelievable. We could go there too. I wouldn't, I was invited to speak at an event in Los Angeles, and so I flew out there, and I remember what I'll never fly into LAX again, by the way, but I
Horrendous.
I flew into LAX, and I'm walking around and I'm like, this is in like 2022, and I'm like, why is everybody wearing a mask? Like, everybody had a mask. I'm like, what? And I mean, though, not everybody, and they're
Mhm,
announcing it on the speaker system. If
mhm.
you're at LAX, you have to wear a mask, and I'm like, you can kiss my mask. I'm not wearing a mask. Like, what are you talking about? You
It's
so I
so disgusting, so unhealthy. Yes, yes. Yep, I'm
I
with you.
I think that and again, I do believe. I'm so see, we're conditioned to believe that if we say the wrong thing, that we're going to get in trouble with Facebook and all that. I just don't care anymore.
Exactly.
Um, I think that we're so conditioned to believe everything that comes
Mhm,
from the media, which is all a lie, pretty much. That
mhm.
we're conditioned to believe everything that comes from the government, and all of this stuff about the pandemic. I don't even. I think 95% of it was made up.
100% Ken. As far as you had just mentioned something. You
About
just
the
mentioned
media,
the
maybe.
media. Yes, yes, thank you. That's the other point, right? So if I was ever called to serve,
Yeah, yeah,
that's the other biggest thing that I need to bring attention to. No one's doing that right now, and I'm really hoping that Trump's going to do something about it, because it's the media. Either, Ken, you're a news outlet and you
yeah.
report on factual news. That's all you do. Or you're an opinion outlet. You cannot mix the two. You cannot do
No.
that, because when you what they're doing right now, they're injecting their own opinions. We don't know what's factual. We don't know what's the truth, because it's the host that's injecting their opinions. So, and they can say anything on the show about someone, and ruin their credibility. This needs to stop. What
Yes.
happened to journalism? Actual real journalism. What happened to that? No one's doing their homework anymore. They
Mm-mm.
hear something, hearsay, and then they run out and write a false story. So there needs to be consequences. Same thing goes to these social media outlets. And yes, we're talking. We're on Facebook right now, but I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna talk about this too. The
Yeah.
the, the biggest party in this is Facebook. It is. It's Zuckerberg. He's the biggest contributor to all of this false information that was provided. I'm going there, Ken. I'm saying it. But now they're coming back and saying, oh, we'd like to play nice with you, President Trump. So it really does take
Yeah.
a solid leader like President Trump to work with people like this. And he's doing the right thing. But these outlets, they have to be held accountable. I don't know when American people are going to wake up and say, listen, we've had enough. They've done that during this election, but what about all the lies that was peddled to us?
I think, Kelly, I think, and I suspect that we're probably on the same frequency here. I think that, so Dr. Jerome Corsi has a double PhD in political science, and he's a friend of mine. He's a friend of Trump's, and he actually is an advisor, or was an advisor to Trump. And I was involved with helping him with some stuff in the technology space. I don't want to get too far into it, but YouTube deleted my interview with him on this show 2.5 years after I interviewed him. And I remember getting the email thinking, because you see them, you hear people saying, "Oh, we're being controlled," and it's the first time that it happened. And I said, "Why?" All he said was Trump was going to win the election in 2020, because he did. He said all that, and he's was calling out the truth. And then they deleted it, and I was like,
Mhm,
"They
mhm.
deleted it? Are you kidding me?" And so, I think what we really need to address, and I really hope that this next administration does address, and I think they're going to, is the absolute abhorrent evil that's surging through the veins of this world. And I'm talking about the not the I'm talking about the puppet masters.
Yes,
There's
yes,
only a handful,
yes,
and they need to be exposed, and this needs to stop. I mean, it's got to stop. It's insane, or
completely.
we're gonna end as a human race.
We're on the brink of war. You know that. We're on
Yes.
this is where the administration, the Biden Harris administration brought us. They brought us to the brink of war. Is that what we want? We don't want that. We're the
No.
most powerful country in the world, Ken, in the
Yeah.
world. We
Yeah.
should be feared. But however, because of who's running it, America is just a big, massive business, right? And the president
Yeah.
is the CEO of the business. So it depends on who's running the country, who's running the business. So putting really incredible leaders that actually know how to lead. President Trump isn't even in office. And you've got heads of state around the world calling him and
Yeah.
backing up. He's not even in office,
Yeah,
Ken.
they're
That's
going to
bloody
Mar-a-Lago.
power.
I know. I know. Did you see Trudeau go down there
I
with his tail between his legs?
Did
I
you
just
hear what Trump said to him?
I did. I love that. He said that your tariffs will kill us as a country, and Trump said, "Well, then maybe you should become the 51st state." I
And
love it.
you can be the very first governor of that state. I loved it.
That's
I
so
loved it. Look at
funny.
this, right?
I
So,
I know.
and under Trump's administration and Vance, I'm super excited about Vance as well. We needed
Yeah,
to bring in some young blood and
yeah.
conservative leaders like that. So, I really am excited about this administration, and I've got big high hopes for them.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I had a suspicion that we were on the same page before I ever met you. So, Kelly, I can't believe we only have a few minutes left, but let me ask you an important question I ask there was a moment in my business. My wife and I met. I had the company for 2 years, just building websites for people. And then she had been the global VP of marketing for two giant companies. And she was downsized in '08, right? Her job was gone, her whole
Mhm.
department was gone. And so she came and worked with me, and we teamed up, and we built a heck of a business. But, there was a moment there's been many moments, but there was this one particular moment when my a guy comes walking into my office that worked for me, and he's like, and he's this big old dude, and he's like, "Hey, there's some dude out in the parking lot looking in the windows of your SUV." And I go, I'm on the phone. I go, "Dude, you're bigger than me. Tell him to get the hell out of here." He's like, "He's got it blocked with his tow truck." And I'm like, "No." Yes.
Repo.
I had my car repossessed in front
Oh.
of all 4 of my employees, and I remember standing out in the parking lot, and you cannot convince a repo guy to not tow your car. I remember standing out there and going watching my car go away, and I'm looking at my employees going, "It's gonna be okay, I promise." And they're not believing you. And so talk about, if you would, the things, because there I remember in that moment I thought, what is the point of going on? Like, I everybody's getting paid except for us. And so how do you what would you say to the people listening who are right now, the economy still sucks. I don't care what everybody's like, "Oh, it's getting better." It may be a little bit, but it's really, really bad. So,
Mhm.
what do you say to the people who are barely hanging on by a tiny little thread and they're about ready to throw in the towel? What do you say to them? And I'm going to give you full screen for this because this might be the most important answer that you delivered today.
Okay. All right. This message is to all my entrepreneur friends. We are friends because we're entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs really need to stick together. But if you are on the brink and you don't know whether you're going to make it and you want to throw the towel in, my advice to you is simply look inside, reach inside of who you are. If you were meant to be an entrepreneur, you're going to find your way through this. There's help out there. If you need financial help, there are grants, there's loans. You can go to family and friends. You can put up collateral. Do not drop this because you're at the fork, if you will, where you need money. If it's not a money situation, then that's where you really need to think about, is this the plan that I want for this company? Which direction do I want to take the company in? First of all, were you even meant to be an entrepreneur? Right? If you started a company, you were meant to be an entrepreneur because we have a different mindset, always have a different mindset. As an entrepreneur, you're not just responsible for yourself, you're responsible for others, your teammates, your employees. And I promise you, I've been there, I've done this. I was on the brink of which way do I go? I was hoping and praying. My my business plan was a hope and a prayer that money was going to come in so I can pay my bills and keep a roof over my head. That was my plan. Don't have that plan. Make sure that you really do figure out, who are you inside? Is this something that you really want? Get some help being an entrepreneur. It's tough. Surround yourself with other entrepreneurs. We've all been through this, I promise you. But it's that moment where you're going to hang in there. Things are going to be tough. You're going to think that you're drowning and nobody cares. I promise you, you put in your blood, sweat, and tears. And if this is your baby, it's your responsibility to raise it. And if that means that you go hungry for a couple of months or years, that's your responsibility. And I promise you, you will become successful because of the conviction and the heart and everything else you've put into your business.
That is beautiful. That is so beautiful. I encourage people all the time, just take the next one little baby step at a time sometimes,
You
because
know, Ken, they say, how do you eat an elephant, right?
yeah.
One bite at a time. By the way, don't eat elephants. We love elephants.
Right, don't eat an elephant.
Yeah.
But I think, because of course, the other side was like, "Trump's filed bankruptcy." I do know that he's had companies that had to go bankrupt, and that's just a the way life works sometimes in the business world. I many years ago, I had to go bankrupt. I mean, you cannot be an entrepreneur and not have gone through the crap of trying to figure all this stuff out. It's not easy. And I honestly, sometimes, Kelly, I wake up and go, I'm not quite sure why I'm doing this. Because I maybe I'm a glutton for punishment. I don't know. But there is something about being an entrepreneur. And you're right, getting the right attorney, getting the right CPA, surrounding yourself with the right people. There's something about that is just it's the probably the truest thing you could have said is
And
get
and that's exactly what the government does. That's exactly what our new administration has done. He surrounded himself with brilliant minds because you
yep,
can't do everything all by yourself. And there's so many entrepreneur groups that you can join, especially if you're on the brink of, "Ah, I'm going to throw this in." And by the way, there are different types of bankruptcies as well. And you know what? That's your right. It's the law. If you need to scrap something so you can start fresh again,
yeah,
that's brilliant, right?
yep.
Our law allows for that. So yes,
Amen. I agree, and there's no shame in the game at
none
all.
whatsoever. That
None.
that means that you took a risk. You took a risk. That means you did something with your life. Now, if that didn't work, you continue, pick up and continue with the next one.
Amen. Kelly Bagla, you are amazing and one of my new best friends. I'm so grateful that you came on today and shared your wisdom and your story. I would like to invite you, if you would like. I'm an Amazon influencer also, which means I'm allowed to live stream directly to Amazon's customers. So maybe we can do a separate Amazon live and sell your books to Amazon customers.
Perfect. Thank
Yeah.
you. That'd
Yeah,
be
we'll
lovely.
chat about that once we end this live stream, which I'm getting ready to do. So, Kelly, I have your website scrolling across the bottom of the page. Everybody go to baglalaw.com, BAGLALAW.com. For those of you listening on the podcast network, um, go visit Kelly's website and follow her on where's the best place to follow you on social media?
Instagram.
Instagram. Okay.
Instagram, LinkedIn.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Instagram and LinkedIn. Go follow Kelly. And is there anything else you'd like to say to everyone before we end this?
Just as entrepreneurs, keep going, keep your faith strong. You're gonna need to believe in something higher than yourselves, and I promise you, it's always gonna get you through the hard times. You're not the only one that's gone through or going through the hard times. We've all been through it, and now look at us, right? So success is just around the corner for you.
Amen. Kelly, thank you so much. And thank you to everybody watching. If you shared this out, thank you. If you have not yet shared this out, there is time for you to redeem yourself and go ahead and share it out. So, jeez, sorry, excuse me. Everybody have a great day. Thank you again so much, Kelly.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you.
See you guys later. Stay with me, by the way, Kelly. I want to chat with you real quick. We'll
Yes.
see you guys later. Bye bye.